Hey everybody, welcome to Ronline Report. Today's guest, you probably have a bunch of this guy's clothes. You probably wear them to the gym all the time. I have been wearing them for years and years, but you don't know the man behind the company or how the company really got started and got to where it is today. Please welcome Micheal Johansson, owner of GASP and Better Bodies. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you today and chat it up a little bit about how everything started. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm curious, how far back does it go? How did GASP start? How long ago, and what made you start the company?
Yeah, I think it started way back in the late 80s,
Wow.
beginning of the 90s. So we're importing better bodies and selling better bodies in the Nordics from a European manufacturer that Brian Moss was collaborating with for the European part. So um, so we were doing that successfully, getting baggy pants from US and better bodies from Europe and selling it successfully up in the Nordics and Sweden. And we were living the bodybuilding lifestyle in the early 90s, and only a selected few went to the gym back then. It was kind of like a niche culture.
Right. Yeah. So this
Yeah,
is back in Sweden, back in the old 80s and 90s. So
yeah,
when did that? So that was Better Bodies. When did you
yeah.
start GASP? GASP is something you started on your own, correct?
Yeah, so what happened was that better bodies in Europe went under bankrupt back in '92. They got really big very quickly, and they thought they could do anything under the brand, and it would sell. But that was not the case. They kind of like tried too much too soon, and so they went under '92. And by that time, we were kind of like picking the best pieces out of the assortment. So we were doing good, but of course we were missing better bodies, and we started to negotiate with the Swiss guy who had it, and eventually '94 we started producing better bodies, and better bodies back in '94 for us with Aaron Baker on the cover of the first catalog was very much bodybuilding. It was very much like the GASP that you know today. And it's just back then we were living in Sweden, which is a small country, 10 million people. So during the next following 6-7 years, we were selling very successfully to the gym owners and everybody around, and also very soon into Dick's Sporting Goods of Sweden. Uh, and in the beginning, they really loved that we came with something different than Nike. And but after a while, towards 2000, um, our products got more and more adapted to the sporting goods industry, and better bodies became a little bit more like a commercial fitness.
Okay.
And so I felt like, oh, we're really missing something essential here, like, where we come from, our core values, our philosophy, relentless, no compromises, no excuses. That's our bread and butter. That's like, that's our lifestyle. But here we are doing something commercial with better bodies to a bigger audience. And so we felt like, yeah, why not? Bring back something to the core audience and making sure it doesn't leave that area. So we came up with GASP, and it was something that I was spearheading very much because I was kind of like a young aspiring bodybuilder back in the early '90s, and I really had that in me going into 2000, and I felt like GASP will keep me sane, and also put those core values on gas that we didn't have on better bodies. And by doing that, we were allowing ourselves to not go off track and not starting to do commercial stuff with GASP. So that was kind of like how GASP got started. And yeah, and so a journey started where we went with GASP on an emotional journey, emotional child, as we call it. And then Better Bodies was the commercial child. And that became the strategy for the next 15 years.
Yeah. it's always been very competitive. The fitness wear, active wear, sporting goods, all that. What was your idea to make GASP stand out as something different, something that would make guys, if they had a choice of 30, 40 different brands, why would they be attracted to GASP?
Yeah, because we were kind of like with gas, we allow us to do stuff with the heart and not with the wallet. It was an emotional journey, and it was it was there to help us to fulfill our bodybuilding goals. When I was 27, I kind of realized, okay, this is not going to be Mr. Olympia for me. I didn't have the right upbringing, and I didn't have the right environment around me. But I'm going to win Mr. Olympia in business and kind of be on the stage without competing, but kind of being on the stage anyway. And that's why I was spearheading GASP so much, because that was my vehicle to the world and my contribution with how I saw stuff. I really wanted I wanted to protect GASP under all circumstances, to remain true to its core, and it was easier, not easier, I would say, but the strategy was to be commercial with Better Bodies, and then being emotional with GASP. So we could clearly see how it was to raise two different childs or journeys.
I mean, I would call it like hardcore and mainstream would be how I'd put it.
Yeah.
From what I remember, the first athletes I remember in your advertisements, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Branch Warren and Johnny Jackson. Were they the first people you put in your ads?
No, no. I mean, like we started out in Sweden 2001, 2002 with GASP. So the first collection, the first catalog, 2002, was with the Swedish worse versions of Branch and Johnny. And and we were doing that until maybe 2006, 7, 8, and we 2008 we were kind of like, okay, let's focus on US with GASP. And that's where I hooked up more with the Branch and Johnny 2008 and 9 and 10. That's where we kind of like started to focus on US. And I started the company in the US 2010 in Chicago. And then 2012, I decided that, let's sell everything we have in Sweden and move to US and put the feet on the ground and try to make this become something larger than life.
I was wondering how we ended up, because I know you started off in Sweden, and I saw the headquarters are no longer over there. It's all based in Texas now.
Yeah, I kind of say that the headquarters is where I am traveling, where I am, but a little bit funny. But yeah, I'm trying to, to really make sure, and that's a mission from all of us in the company, and to make sure that our headquarters is in US, and that we use US as the window for the rest of the world. So today we distribute GASP and Better Bodies to a little bit more than 110 countries around the world.
Wow.
Yeah. So
every gym I've ever gone to, and I haven't been to too many gyms outside the USA, but I see your stuff everywhere: the t-shirts, the tank tops, the hoodies, tights, the pants. Did you ever think it would be embraced the way it was by the hardcore bodybuilding community?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like that was the game plan all the time. But for the first years when we came over to the US, from 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, we were like a business to business company. We were selling to other resellers, and we were really good at that. But social media took over, and the whole scene changed a lot, so a lot of distributors disappeared, and the whole thing changed when social media came, and I found myself in being in the US 2017 and feeling like I lack relevance. People know about GASP, people know about Better Bodies, but it was lacking real relevance. And I felt like I need to climb down from my big horse, and I have to be the horse, and kind of like take it, like make a new journey happen, but this time much closer to the community, much closer to friends and family, and really create that social belonging that we started a company with, that we started a journey with. And it was very tough, a lot of sleepless nights and months, 2017, 18, 19. It's starting to come back to me again, a little bit like the way how it was supposed to be. And 2021 and now 22, 23 here, it feels like our emotional success is really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reason the products have done so well, not only they look cool, but they last forever. I mean, this thing I'm wearing is probably at least 12 years old. I have tank tops that are probably 15 years old. They've been sweated in and washed 1,000 times. And there's
Yeah,
other, I've lost many other tank tops. They just fell apart.
yeah,
How did you, I don't know the whole ins and outs of the clothing industry, but how
yeah,
did you
yeah,
make these things so that they could be durable for people that sweat and train hard and wear these
yeah.
things over and over and over again?
There was the whole ambition of not doing it with a wallet, and instead doing it with a big heart.
Mm,
To be no compromises about the how we see how to do it the best way we could. That doesn't mean that there is issues here and there or something happens, or because clothing is kind of like a living material.
mm.
But I think what we succeeded most with is that we created a movement of like-minded people, and everybody has their own version of what GASP means to them. It's a little bit like reading a book. If you read this book, you have your own story of what GASP means, and the relationship to GASP is what makes the item so good. And it's not and your own memories and your own experience of the iron world. And we are just helping you to kind of like feel that feeling of that world. And it's not necessarily so much about the item itself. It's just that the item reminds you about you know hard work and no compromises and no excuses, and you know being empowered and dream your dream and live your life the way you want to live your life.
Yeah. And I think, these are some of the athletes I see on your Instagram now. Branch and Johnny are still part of the GASP team.
Yeah,
You've got two 12 Olympia champion 2 times, Sean
yeah,
Clarita. You have Hunter Labrada, James
yeah,
Hollingshead,
yeah,
Keon Pearson, Brett Wilkin, Martin
yeah,
Fitzwater. I'm probably forgetting a few people for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, but I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, our ambition with is not to sign athletes, and it's not about hiring and firing in anywhere in our setup. It's more about running a family from start to end, and like when we share these core values and these philosophies, and we travel the world together, and we do challenging stuff. We do, we have victories and we have defeats, and we kind of, live this life fully. It's actually about us, and it's not about GASP and Better Bodies. It's more about us, Ron Harris, myself, and everybody else, like Branch and Johnny. Everybody, it's kind of like we as people who's traveling on this journey. And GASP and Better Bodies is just a platform that it's kind of like the vehicle that takes us to do certain stuff, just like this meeting today, like, yeah,
yeah, do you know, so Giles Thomas, who's with MD, huge
yeah,
fan of GASP. I know you know him very well.
yeah, yeah,
So, he did some video a couple of years ago. You bring the team out on tours. You bring them to
yeah,
Sweden,
yeah,
and they do this thing called the Stinky Fish Challenge, where
yeah,
it's like a rite of passage, an initiation for the
yeah,
new guys, I guess.
yeah,
Where I don't know what this fish is called, but it smells horrible. Like you can
yeah.
smell it 50 feet away. And the
No, it's
challenge
like
is,
you actually could be sued if you open up in your neighborhood, and you kind of like it's kind of like that on that level.
wow, yeah. So where did that start? Because that's obviously that type of fish. People don't eat that in this part of the world. That must be like a Nordic kind of thing. How did you
Yeah, it
get
was
the
a
idea
Nordic.
to start doing this?
No, it's just that to have fun. So let's say wherever we go, We like to do some sightseeing. We like to meet the culture in their own wherever that culture is doing and what they have going on. Everybody got something funny going on, and in Sweden we have that Stinky Fish, and it's actually a delicatessen for a few percent of Swedish people nowadays. But back in the old days, it was actually one of the reasons why Sweden was a superpower in Europe in the 1700s. Because
Fish?
because you had the protein from the fish, and you
Ah,
have to preserve it in all kinds of different, like pickled herring, and then you have smoked herring, and you have herring in a lot of different way, and there was an abundance of herring. So, and one way of preserving it was to ferment it, and that's what you got the smelly fish from.
yeah, it's
So,
hilarious video watching these people try to not throw up. Yeah,
mm,
Giles says I should try it sometime. I'll give it a go if I'm
yeah.
ever over there. Um,
No, yeah. That's a fun thing. So we have some snaps to it and makes it a little bit easier.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I would hold my nose. But another thing I'm curious. So Dallas is where your headquarters is, but
Yeah,
you have this massive showroom and a gym called Destination Dallas. You
yeah,
could have just had, like corporate headquarters there. What made you decide to make this huge place that was it's like a mecca? I mean, people are moving
yeah,
there these last few
yeah,
years because they want to be
yeah,
part of this.
yeah. No, we have a lot of people moving in here from all over the world, and especially California and also from the East Coast. Yeah, the whole idea was to, when I moved here, I had the opportunity to kind of like spend some time and put together my own old school place where I felt like this is how I grew up. A little bit like Metroflex Arlington, or something like that. That's kind of like, it's not pretentious in any way, but it's very, very um, very much pure passion and purpose, and like-minded people that is there to have the best workout and fulfill their dreams and whatever it might be. And it's very judgment-free environment. Like, the rules here is that there is no rules. And sometimes it's hard, especially when you have a big place like this. But the beauty is when everybody adapts to a little bit the same culture, and everybody has a tolerance for each other, more than they see similarities more than they see in differences. And that's kind of like what I want to have. I want to have a meeting place. That's why I call destination. I feel like I want to create my own version of the Gold's Gym back in Venice, how it all started back in the 70s and 80s and things like that.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that used to be the mecca. That's where people would gravitate from
So,
all over the
yeah,
world, all around the US, Europe, Asia, wherever. And
yeah,
nobody's moving out to LA anymore. That's done.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It was Las Vegas, and now it's mainly because of GASP and Better Bodies and
yeah,
Destination Dallas. Keon's moved out there. Martin
yeah,
Fitzwater moved out
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Did Brett
And
Wilkin move out there too?
not yet, but who knows? And then we got Sean Clarida in the house today. He's actually officially moving here 1st of May, but he's putting
Goodness.
his today he was putting his fridge and all that stuff into the new house.
Wow, Sean Clary, that is big news. So wow, with
Yeah,
his wife and a brand new baby, no less.
yeah,
All the way
exactly.
across from New Jersey to Dallas. See, good
Yeah,
job, Micheal.
yeah,
Good job.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, if you told me 10 years ago all the bodybuilders are going to be moving to Dallas, I'd be like, well, why would they move to Dallas? Well, this is
yeah, yeah,
why. This is why.
yeah.
Um,
I think I felt a little bit when I moved here. I felt like it was a lot of cool people in this Metroplex area. It's like 8 million people here, and I felt like they're not really getting together. It feels like they're living far apart. And for me, coming from traveling all the way from Sweden across half of the world, I was feeling like, why are they not getting together more? Like, let's create the destination where they can come, be. And it's kind of like an open. I don't do this to be a gym owner. I just do this for fun. So it becomes a little bit like a neutral platform. Um, you know, Trying to keep politics and diversity out. I mean, like diversity from and create more like-minded people, so we can be diverse but like-minded instead of just being diverse and fighting each other.
Another thing I want to give you credit for is your YouTube channel, Iron World. Fantastic content. I believe your main videographer is Nick Del Toro.
Yeah.
Nick used to work for MD years ago. He's fantastic. Just a great eye for physiques and gets all the right angles and everything. And I think that's been a big part of the success in recent years is because people want to feel like they're part of a community, they want to belong to something, and they watch that and they buy the clothes and they feel like they're really part of this because it is kind of like a movement.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole purpose. That 2017, when I felt like there is no relevance, we have to. I mean, of course, it was relevance, but not to the extent that I felt was good. It was going in the wrong direction. I want to take away the corporate bullshit that was building up because the company was growing, and I want to create more of a movement, a flat organization, and everybody can put something on the table and everybody can be part of it. And athletes who's no longer competing, or they can still be relevant in our family because they got experience to contribute with, and they got connections, and they know a thing or two that they can teach the young pups with, and I think stuff like that is important. So more of a movement, more of a family, open door concept. Everybody's welcome as long as you bring something to the family, and you make sure that we stay diverse but like-minded.
I guess the last thing I want to ask you about is it's even, I think the gym clothing industry is now even more competitive because of social media. There's a lot of young guys and girls who they just, they like to film themselves and they like to have the cool clothes. All these like high school kids at my gym have the Gymshark clothes, but I still see a ton of GASP clothes and Better Bodies clothes. How do you stay relevant? How do you stay innovative in 2023 when you've had a company that's been producing stuff now for over 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like this thing I talked about, that you can create more of a journey that as we as people are traveling on that journey, we as individuals. And it's not about GASP and Better Bodies in per se, GASP and Better Bodies is just the platform that we are traveling on, like that we're standing on. And I think that's what we changed 2017. Before that, it was more about selling the brands and selling clothing. Now it's more about, okay, who has no compromise as a philosophy, who is a little bit more no excuses, and who is relentless. And do you want to be relentless with us? Do you want to work hard, play hard with us? Of course, you're welcome, and everybody can do something. In the old days, it was much more of a clear label for an athlete. Who is an athlete? You have to have these accolades or whatever. But nowadays, everybody can join in. Everybody has something, as long as we promote fitness in some shape or form, and we use that as a base. Then come and have fun and do your thing, and you're okay as you are, and your dreams are perfectly fine. We want to, and the more we praise other people's dreams, the more we are also helping our own dreams to become reality. Because you are reading your own book and you're preaching your own book when you're kind of like allowing yourself to empower others. You're empowering yourself.
Yeah, it's fitting that you say that, because GASP, I think there's a misconception that GASP is only for hardcore bodybuilders.
Yeah.
But I see people from all walks of life in the gym, from hardcore bodybuilders all the way to a housewife or some guy who just wants to get in shape. He's maybe 40 years old or whatever. And you've done a good job, I think, of, if it had been only appealing to hardcore bodybuilders, I don't think the company would be around right now.
Yeah, exactly, and I feel like my homework this year is actually to reel that home for real. Because when you come from Sweden like I do, and my inner team, and many of us, we come from Europe. We go straight for Arnold. We go straight for Olympia. We go straight for the big thing, because we have the nationals already in the bag back home. We know exactly who's competing on the national level and who's aspiring. But when we come to the US, we're looking too much at the Olympia, you know, and I need to kind of rephrase our ambition and make sure that we go to the local shows, we go to the grassroots, we go to the sticks, wherever it is, and this year we're probably going to support around 80 shows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're going to be in a lot of places just to meet people and create the camaraderie and make sure that people feel welcome in our community and our movement, you know. And next year, I'm thinking we can do 160 because we have such a great setup. We have 15,000 ambassadors and athletes helping us to kind of like spread the movement. So that itself is now starting to, so we can kind of like multiply. Of course, I'm going to be on the road almost every weekend, but we also have a lot of other great people that is all over the place helping to spread the word, you know.
15,000 ambassadors. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. My goodness gracious. But you know what? I get it, man. Because like I said, I see all the other brands and everything, and I'm not just saying this because you're here interviewing you. I've always preferred GASP over everything. I just think it looks, I love the colors, the styles, the way they fit. I mean, they're just the best. To me, they're the best bodybuilding clothes out there, the best workout clothes you can possibly get. So just my 2 cents.
The hoodie you have today is one of my pure favorites, all-time favorites.
What year was this come out? Do you know?
I'm really bad at stuff like that. I wish I knew.
I'm gonna guess. I think I got it around, I want to say like 2009 or 2010.
I would say that's probably right. Right in that era, you know. So, but we have a lot of, because we have so many ambassadors now. They are also voicing, you know, what they want to see us bringing back. You know, things that come back and you know, new type of products. So last year we had 46 athlete meeting every Thursday, almost every Thursday through the whole year. 46 meetings with 256 athletes, and bringing in their feedback and telling us, because we see the athletes and the community and our ambassadors as boss, you know. And we want to have a good boss that tells us the way it is, you know. No beating around the bush. Just give us the honest truth. What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? And you know. So
we will have the links in the description for your website, for your social media. So guys, go check out all the great stuff from GASP and Better Bodies. Such good stuff for working out. If you've never had a GASP or Better Bodies outfit, man, I mean, I like the way you color coordinate. It'll have like some odd color, but then you get the pants with the same color. And I like to match. I'm just one of those weirdos.
Yeah.
I like to match.
Yeah.
And then I got to go find sneakers that match the same color. But it's kind of like a game for me. But man,
that's awesome.
So Micheal, you know, thank you so much for taking the time. Thanks for the company, man. That's, like I said, what would we be wearing if you hadn't started this? Like stuff from Walmart or Target? I don't know. It wouldn't be the same. So
I'm glad I'm able to do this, you know. So I feel privileged and honored and to do this together with you guys and everybody else in the community that is kind of like supporting the journey and making sure that we can do more cool stuff together and we can have fun together. And I think that's the whole you know, takeout from this discussion is that as long as we have the same values when it comes to the philosophies and stuff like that, it doesn't matter what we're wearing. But of course, it makes it more fun if we can we have GASP and Better Bodies to support the journey, you know.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Micheal, and everybody. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, leave some comments. We appreciate it. We appreciate you watching this episode of the Ronline Report with Micheal Johansson of GASP. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.